team, Steve here. Just wanted to share with you guys how to set up your class notebook. Many of us are starting up for the first time with Class Notebook and heard a lot of good things about it, but just not sure how to get it all going. So first things first, in a new class, you'll get the option here to set up a new class notebook in the general channel if you haven't done anything yet in this space. If you've already done something, then this alert may be gone. So you can always go straight to the class notebook area and it will kick off the same process. So class notebook, a lot of great tools, a lot of great features here, and we're going to be sharing a lot of what you can do with it as we move on. But for today, we're just going to go ahead and set up our class notebook. So I'm going to go ahead and click setup. And if I do not, for the most of us, we're not going to have any other existing notebook content that we need to bring over. But if I do have some of that content, you can feel free to go ahead and use the existing notebook content. But to be honest with you, the way I like to do it is I usually just set up a blank notebook and then bring over the content as needed versus trying to transfer everything over only to find out that I'm not going to use everything. And that brings up our big point, or the big tip of the day, and that is when setting up a class notebook, less is more. So when you go through the process of clicking on blank notebook, you're going to get to this screen right here, and it's going to give you some suggestions for the sections that you want. Again, less is more. I would start with the one section that I know I'm going to use and then work from there, okay? So if you're not going to use it for homework and classwork and quizzes, but you do think you're going to use some handouts, or you might be doing a journal or something like that, feel free to just create that one section. And as you feel a little bit more confident and comfortable as the year goes on, or you think of a new area that you want to kind of dive into, you can go ahead and do that as you go along. The reason why we do this is because once you create sections, it gets pushed to your students' class notebooks. And it's not a big deal, but sometimes in the organization, some folks might get a little too crazy, and there's like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, even 10. I've seen upwards of 20 sections created that you may never use, and those are now stuck inside your student spaces. And in order to remove them, you have to show them how to delete it, or you have to go in and manually delete those sections for the students. So they become a little bit cumbersome. So I'm going to start with just the handouts, and I'm going to drill in a little bit more. Because I know how my year is going to go, and I know I'm going to be working by quarters. However you feel like doing this, again, this is how you organize your own space. So for me personally, I like to organize it by quarters. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. You can do spring, summer, fall, whatever you want, whatever, blue, green, purple, whatever works best for you. Feel free to throw those in there to get started. So I'm going to start with this one section. I'm going to go ahead and click create. Should only take a few moments to get situated in the space. If you notice that it's taking, upwards of 10-15 minutes for this thing to load up, it could be something going on. One of the things I would say is just restart the computer and let it jump back in, and it should be fine. When you jump into the class notebook space, you're going to see the welcome page. This page of all pages, I feel, is the most underlooked gem in class notebook. Because as you notice here, we drop right into this space. This welcome, you can edit it as the teacher. So I can go ahead, instead of having it just a welcome, the generic welcome, I can edit this to make it more suitable for my group. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Mr. Krebs class. And this area here, there's a lot that you could do with this. So you could put in what I used to do with it was use my general welcome to the class, but then my class syllabus was here as well. So kids could just scroll in and see like what's the grading average that I'm going to be using, or which points gets the, what do I need to get the most amount of points in this class. Little general stuff about me, I would throw things in there like that as well. You can also use it for weekly or monthly activities or schedules. You could throw those up there. You could do reminders here as well. Again, you're probably going to do them in the general area in your actual announcements and stuff like that, but it's a good thing to just throw it there as well. It doesn't hurt. But normally I just put something here that's going to last for the course. So it's just, again, a welcome to my course and what's going on. And mind you, you could do that through video, audio, you could, again, through text, whatever works best for you, okay? And any page that you don't want, again, that's up to you. You can go ahead and just delete them. So I really don't want the kids, they're never going to use that page. It's a generic page. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. Okay. Now, I'm going to jump down to the collaboration space. We have some additional spaces in our class notebook. So there's collaboration space, there's the content library, and then for all of us, we're going to have a teacher-only section. Now, because this is a class that doesn't have any students in it, you're not going to see the students here in this demo. But on your side, you're going to see all your students' notebooks. So all their names will be listed underneath and below. So just keep that in mind. The students cannot see each other's work. The only spaces that the students can see is your welcome, collaboration, and content library. They cannot see this teacher-only space because it's for teachers only. All right, so collaboration space, what is it? It is, as you would imagine, it is a collaboration space. So where you and your students can collaborate. This is great for note-taking. This is great for projects, creating to-do lists for your students. As you can see, there's a lot of great examples here. I used to use it in my class when we would do a project on engineering. The kids would take their Chromebooks, and we were looking at different structures and how buildings were built. So they would bring their Chromebooks along and snap pictures as we walked through the campus of different structural frameworks or I-beams or door hinges or stuff like that, and all that stuff would be dropped into collaboration space, and then we would come back together and break down what we were taking pictures of, and add to those spaces or add to that information when we get back into the classroom. So a great tool. If you don't want this on, or you want to shut it down for a time, you do have that option, and I'm going to show you that in just a sec. But that is primarily what we would use it for. There's a lot more that you can do. I'll leave that up to you to kind of decide what you want to use it for. Content library. When we get into the content library, this is your file locker. So one of the things that will happen in your classes is the students use the handout that you give to them, a digital handout. They may delete it, they may edit it and then forget what the question was, or need to get a copy of the original. Or in the off chance that, hey, it didn't show up on my side, the content library, if I put those documents into that space, so I keep a copy of all the handouts in here, what will end up happening is the student can go in there. They can't edit the actual document, but they can make a copy of it into their own class notebook. So as you get a little bit more familiarized with the space, and your students do as well, you can just say, hey, go grab the worksheet is in the content library. You can go ahead and download it into your class notebook. Some of the other things, as you can see there, storing lecture notes, sharing course readings and text, capturing class whiteboard. So if you wanted to snap a picture of an example of what you guys did and put it right into that space, you can do that there as well. And again, because Class Notebook is a multimedia tool, you could turn that webcam onto yourself, and if you're a math teacher and I want to show you the steps on how to complete how to do improper fractions, you can go ahead and walk through that step by step using your document camera, and then take that video and just plug it right into an example that you took in class, or the snapshot of the whiteboard. You can throw that right into this content library area as well, so students would just have access to it in a cool spot. Underneath that is our teacher-only space that we talked about before. This is your place to play. This is where you're going to create most of your content. Your students can't see this, no one can see this but you. And then once that content is created, you can go ahead and share that up to your students. So you can share that out using the assignment tool in Teams. Before we get there though, I just want to share with you, we talked about closing out some areas inside the team. And all of those features, or all of those options, are found in this area here called Class Notebook. So if I click on that, I do have some options here up top. We're not going to get into too deep of detail with what these areas do, but you can kind of read and know. Distributed page protection, copy certain things to the content library, reviewing certain work, and then reflect. But the big area that we want to cover here today is the manage area. So this is where we can do things like add new sections. So all right, we did good with section 1, and we're moving into section 2, or we're moving into quarter 2, and I want to create another section. I can go in and just click add, and type in the name of the section that I want to add to the space. So let me just type that in, handouts Q2. All right, so over here, the default location for notes in a channel, what that is in each channel, there's an area for notes. So those notes, you can have them open collaboratively so kids can, work together on their notes, or you can have them shut down. So you can say, hey, these notes are just from me to you. So it just depends on how you set up your space. But what that means is that whatever is typed into that space, it will go to either the content library or the collaboration space. Most folks, when we get into that whole concept of the deeper dive into what all the features are inside Teams, this is actually a really powerful tool, but it hasn't been utilized a lot. So there's a few use case scenarios where this would completely redesign how you guys do presentations in your space, and it's in a good way. Teacher only, it's already enabled. It used to be that you'd be able to toggle it on and off, but we just figured in the teacher space, better just have it on. Then locking the collaboration space, that's what we were talking about before. If I need to lock that space down, I don't need anyone typing in it. I don't want anyone adding to it just yet. Right now we're not doing any projects with it. I can go ahead and close that space out. So if you ever get a note from someone, hey, the collaboration space is open, people are typing in it, you can go ahead and shut that down if you want to. All right. Now each notebook does have a SharePoint link to it, so you can share that out. Just giving you a heads up that it's there. If you're ever going to use it, probably not. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click close, and now I'm going to go back over to my teacher only space to just show you how simple it is to create a page. Now, I do want to share before we do that, if I'm in a section, you notice how the area is grayed in and out here. This happens a lot to folks. Like, they'll decide that I want to create something in my teacher only space, but this is actually selected, the welcome area. So when I click on teacher only, okay, I created a new page. I clicked on teacher only and I created a new page. No, you didn't actually get into the actual tab of teacher only. So I need to actually drill in and click on teacher only, or the tab that I want to, or the section that I want to work on. So in this case is using the title that was given to it by Microsoft, but I can add sections to it. So if I'm here in the teacher only section, you notice I'm in this zone. I'm going to go ahead and create a quarter Q1 handouts. Oops. There we go. Click OK. So now I have a subsection in the teacher only area called Q1 handouts. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my first worksheet. So worksheet 1, okay? And again, there's so much that I can do here. There's a lot of digital tools that I can use, but I just wanted to show you quickly how we create a worksheet or how we create a document inside a class notebook. It's as simple as that. If I have a YouTube link or something like that, I can go ahead and add and flesh this thing out. I can type in whatever I want. If I have a Word document that I already created, I can bring in Word documents, PDFs. We're gonna show you how to do all those things, but it is a lot simpler than we try to make it. Some folks will say, well, Steve, why not just use Word? Because doesn't Word do all this stuff? Yes, but Word keeps those documents independent. So it's, again, like getting a separate printout all by itself. But in our space as educators, we like to have our students put together things in a portfolio for us to show their growth and their work throughout the year. This is where Class Notebook shines, because it takes all that work and organizes it for them in a digital version of their 3-ring binder. And the upside is that at the end of the unit, at the end of the space, you can go ahead and just either print this out or share this with a parent, or the student can walk away with it as well, with all their content in one good spot. It used to save me a ton of time when grading as well, because I didn't have to bring home binder after binder after binder. I could just go ahead and sign in on my phone and take a look at my students' work. So a lot of cool tools here. We're going to dive deeper into it, but this is just an intro to the Class Notebook space. Hope this helps.